Hello, welcome back. So now in this part, we will discuss some IS code recommendations regarding the effective span and the load and the distribution of load that generally occur in the staircase. So first we will talk about the effective span of the staircases. So as we have classified staircase structurally in two categories, one is the transversely supported and the second one is longitudinally supported. So calculation of effective span in both case is different. So IS in the IS code, clause 33 has provided some insights of calculating the effective span in case of staircases. So we will see that. So first we will talk about the transversely supported staircase. So finding effective span in this case is very easy. Basically, the effective span in this case will be considered as the center to center of the bearing. So like in this case, you can see this step is resting on this beam and on this wall. So basically, the effective span will be the center to center distance of the bearing. So in this case, the bearing width of this step is this in case of wall. So center of this bearing and center of this beam, because this step is resting over the whole width of beam. So this distance will be known as the effective span in case of transversely supported staircase. Similarly, if there is a cantilevered staircase, so in that case, it will be again considered as a center of bearing to the free end. So in that case, it will look like this. Similarly, in case of beam running centrally, so effective span can be considered in both way as, say, if this is L. So in that case, it will be L by 2. And in this case also, it will be L by 2. Okay. So this is how we find out effective span in case of transversely supported staircase. So it is comparatively, it is very easy to understand how effective span will be there. Talking about the longitudinally staircase, so their effective span is dependent on the location of the support. So when we talk about longitudinally supported stair, so first case is when stairs span longitudinally and are supported at the top and bottom by beams. And in this case, the effective span is the distance between the respective centers of the beam. So like in this case, the beam is provided at the bottom of the flight and at the top of the flight. So in this case, the effective span will be between the center of the beams, because the bending will occur in between the two supports, while the bending of the landing will be separate. It will not be in combination with the bending of this flight. So that is why the effective span for this case will be uh, between the center of the beams. Now, similarly, if we talk about the second case, so in this case, wherever we provide the beam, whether we are providing in between the landing or at the edge of the landing, or if we provide the beam at the bottom of the flight, and similarly, if we provide, I mean, instead of providing beam at the top of flight, if we provide beam at the edge of the landing here. So in that case, like if we consider this case, then effective span will be this one. Similarly, if beam is there and the second beam is again at the edge, so in that case, bending will be like this. So in that case, effective span will be measured from this one. Similarly, if beam is here, if beam is provided here and one beam is provided here, then the whole will bend like this. So it will bend. I mean, bending of flight, bending of landing will be between the support. So in that case, the effective span will be this one. So this is as per in if the beam or if the slab is, sorry, I mean if the staircase falling in this category. Similarly, if we talk about the case C, in this, when the stairs span longitudinally and are supported by the landing on top and bottom, which span in the transverse direction. So now we are talking about the C category, which we have seen earlier also. So in this case, you can see when beams are provided parallel to the shorter span of the landing. In this case also, when we provide beams like this, so bending in the flight will be like this, and bending in the landing will be in the opposite plane, which means this is the longitudinal and this one is the transverse, which means it is now this time it is bending parallel to the steps. And in this case, it is the flight is bending parallel to the direction of going. Okay, so that is the difference in this case. Now, what will be the effective span in this case? So effective span will be between the distance, distance between the flight. So in this case, the effective span, sometimes it is considered between the center to center of the support. So this time support is this one. So this is the support and this one is the support. So this one is the effective span in this case. Now the width of landing is divided into two parts. So one part is known as X on left hand side and one part here is also known as Y. And therefore it is some guidelines are given in this table. Now according to this table, if the value of X and Y, if it exceeds 1 meter, in that case we will take G plus 1 from this side and G plus 1 from this side. Similarly, if X is less than 1 and Y is more than 1, so in that case we will take G plus X plus 1. If X is more than 1, Y is less than 1, so in that case it will become G plus 1 plus Y. So basically, according to this table, the effective span will be G plus X plus Y, provided X and Y are less than 1. By chance, if they are more than 1, in that case, it will become G plus 1 plus 1. So like all four cases or four possible cases are mentioned here. Now, when beams are at the three ends of the landing, and this is the most common, very common case generally occur in the multi-story building. So in this case, when beams are provided on three sides of the landing, one beam is here, one beam is here, and the one beam is here. Similarly here also, one beam is here, one here, one here. Okay, so in that case, effective span will be G only. So in that case, effective span will be considered as G only, because bending will occur like this. So that is case D. Now we will talk about the load on the staircases or stair slab. Basically, in the staircase, we generally design the stair slab because that carry all the loads. So load on the stair slab is basically comes into two categories. One is in the form of dead load. So first we will talk about the dead load, and then second form is live load. So we will talk about that later. So in the dead load, there are basically different loads. For example, first load is the self weight of stair slab. So self weight in case of waist slab, it will be the self weight of waist slab. Similarly, if we are designing tread riser slab, so in that case, self weight will be of tread riser slab. Or in case if we are designing individual steps, so self weight will be considered as of the individual steps. So in our course and in our lecture, we will be considering only the first case. So we will be designing staircases with the waist slab. So in this case, say self weight of the waist slab is the first load which we considered as a dead load. Second, like in this diagram also, you can see this bottom slab is basically the waste slab. So first load will be the self weight of the waste slab. Second load will be the self weight of the steps. So now you can see on the slab, these steps are also present on the slab. So then next load will be in the form of self weight of the steps. So self weight of steps can be calculated. I mean, in this case, we can calculate it by multiplying with the density of RCC. If these steps are of RCC or concrete, so in that case, we will multiply this by 25 or 24, and then we will multiply this with the average thickness of the steps. So here you can see maximum thickness of the step is R, and here at this point thickness of R value is 0. So in that case average of R will be R by 2. So R by 2 multiplied by density multiplied by the area, in that case we can calculate the self weight. So we will be calculating it in our design problem. So in that we will discuss about it in more detail. And the third dead load is the finish. So generally we provide some finishing on the surface of the steps. So the finishing may be in the form of providing stones or marbles. So those load will also be considered. And generally in our design, we consider finishing load as between 0.6 to 1 kilonewton per meter square. Well, as you can see, this staircase slab is also a slab. So the steps of slab and the concept of slab design will also be used here in case of staircase. So we will consider that concept when we will be designing problem. Now talking about the live load. Well, this live load will generally occur only at the horizontal surface of the steps, which means at the T or at the tread. So live load will occur only at the tread. So that is why live load is shown here. And this is what I have mentioned here. The live load are assumed to act as uniformly distributed load on the horizontal projection of the flight, that is on the going or tread of the staircase, as well as on the landing. Live load will occur on the landing also. Okay. Now the value of live load is dependent on the type of staircase, whether you are using this staircase, the location of the staircase, whether you are using it in case of commercial building or in case of assembly building or institutional building or private building. So depending on that we can have different load for this category. So as per IS code IS 875, which is basically for the live load calculation. So in this IS code a different live load is mentioned for different type of building. Similarly, if like in this case, if there is a service staircase for maintenance in water tank, you have seen in the overhead water tank, we provide staircase in the periphery of that tank. So in that case, we take live load as 1.5 kilonewton per meter square. Similarly, if we are providing staircase in a residential building, in that case, live load can be taken as 3 kilonewton per meter square. If the staircase is in the office building or public building, in that case, it will be 5 kilonewton per meter square, because there in case of public building, overcrowding, chances of overcrowding will be high, and therefore we take higher live load. Similarly, chances of overcrowding in case of residential building is low, so therefore we take less load in this case. Now in case if we are designing isolated steps, in that case we take live load as 1.3 kilonewton per step, and we consider this load at the free end of the step. For example, if cantilever step is like this, so we will consider load at the free end as 1.3 kilonewton. So in case of cantilever step design, and that is what mentioned here as a star mark. Now we will discuss some very special cases of the load distribution in the staircase. For example, when we discuss about, talking about the case of open well staircase, how load should be distributed in case of open well staircase, it is being mentioned in the clause 33.2 of IS 456. So in this case, it is being mentioned that when in case of open well staircase, when a staircase takes a right angle turn, the load on areas common to any such span, usually in landing, may be taken as 50% in each direction. I will show you that with the help of diagram. See, this is the open well. The difference between dogleg and open well is that well between the flight is more in case of open well. And because of this higher open well, we have flight in this direction also. So in case of open well staircase, if we cut section here, in that case we will have full load in between this flight, but the load on this landing will be shared when we cut section like this. So in that case, this flight will have full load, but this will have some portion of the load because some load is already considered in this direction. So what portion of the load in this direction should be considered and what portion of load should be considered in this direction? So that is what mentioned here. 50% of the load on this landing, 50% of the load of this landing will be considered when we analyze this span. Okay. Similarly, 50% is considered when we analyze this case. So this is what mentioned here also. So you can see here up to this flight, we have considered full load, and when we considering this flight, we have considered only the half load, because the half load will be considered when we analyze this step along this span. So in that case, you can see the remaining half will be considered for this landing will be considered in this case, and the remaining half of this landing also considered in this case. And the first half is considered when we analyze this, when we take the case of this span. So basically in case of open well, there will be three flight. So this flight and this flight, this will be common. This will be the another flight. While in case of dogleg staircase, you can see the flight is generally same, and therefore we consider only one flight and design it. And this flight is basically the identical of this flight. While in this case, this flight and this flight is identical, but there is another flight which is along this direction. So in that case, we analyze two span, one for this flight and one for this. So that is the one case. In the second case, one more recommendation IS code has recommended. According to the same clause, it says when a longitudinally spanning flight or landing is embedded by at least 110 mm into walls, the loading may be assumed to act on a reduced width of flight. Due to partial two-way action, the code permits this reduction in width as 150 mm. It also suggests increasing the effective breadth of the section by 75. Very difficult to understand this while reading. So we will try to understand that with the help of figure. Well, first we will see here. Well, according to this IS code, it says that when see, in case, as you can see, this is the case of dogleg staircase, and generally dogleg staircases are supported. One beam may be provided here and one beam may be provided here. But sometimes what we do is we insert this this stair slab in the side wall also. So there may be a side wall, there may be a side wall here also. So when we embed this slab in the side wall, that is what mentioned here, that it should be at least 110. It says that when it is embedded at least 110 then there are chances that the action of fixity will comes into play, which means earlier we have thought that our slab is connected to this point only and this point only, and therefore bending will occur only like this. But when it is inserted on the side wall also, then this side wall will also act as a support. So this slab is connected with this end, with this end, and with this end. It may act as a two-way, I mean, it may behave as a two-way slab, or it may have a two-way action. So bending may be along like this or along like this. So therefore, two-way bending action may occur. So in that case, the load carrying capacity will increase, and therefore the reduction in the load which is coming on the slab may be considered. So that reduction is said. Uh, yes, the code permits this reduction in width as 150 mm. So earlier we thought that load will be coming on the whole slab, but because it is inserted on the side, so what happens is the load carrying capacity at, because it is supported on this wall, so some load can be reduced here. Why? Because some load is carried by this wall, while we have not considered this in our design. So therefore, what we can do is we can reduce the loading length. So here, the length which is being reduced is, I mean, it is about 150 mm. Similarly, effective breadth of the step also increased. So these are the recommendations which are being mentioned in the IS code, although we will not be designing it and we will not be considering this, but I am mentioning here because a short note may come in the exam. So that is the distribution case, that is the special case that I have mentioned here. So in the next part, we will continue our discussion. Thank you.